Hi, welcome to another video on my Arduino Mega2560 and some electronics and motors. Last time I added this motor with a chain. Right now I added a digital switch. And the intention is to press its switch and have it connected to the breadboard and some digital input here, and then somehow it should lighten up a LED. And from my other experiments you will recognize this as fischertechnik. So that should all be going fine. First thing to do is connect the switch with some wires. That is one. And that is two. One of the wires should go to the ground. And you may have noticed new wires here. That is just to make sure that these plus and minus are connected to these plus and minus, so I don't have to worry about this distance. Now I should make some jump from, let's say, here right to the board. And let me adjust the camera a bit. There's of course no problem in doing that. Since I have prepared one wire, so I'll stick it in here, which is 0.11. Then let's say in here, it's not connected yet, and then I will have to connect this with the 25 point. So I will have to use a jump wire for this and see if one is large enough, far reaching enough. If not, I'll have to jump it to change this because it's long enough. So let's just put one in here and right over the red ones in here. Oops. So I just added this jump wire, and now I'll change this one to here. Let me do the same for this one. So this is one thing. Also, let me run all engines in order to make sure that everything actually does work. And alright, let's go. Reposition that motor so it doesn't hit anything. This one is refusing again for some reason. Once again, but now I notice that this one isn't running either, and that may be due to a bad connected wire. So let me press it in, try again. And there's not even a glimpse of running, not with this motor on the right side and not with this one. So I will have to check that out before I go on. So with the motor and chain running, it is a little bit tricky, because the transistor in that particular part of the circuit doesn't always make all good contact, but it's running now. I added digital in pin 11 for 11. The output values I'm not going to change. What I am going to change is with the analog write, because I intend to use the yellow square LED, which is output value 1, and we'll see how that works out. It is connected to 7, however, so let's just see how this works out. I say here, if oops, digital in pin 11, and then let's say have this doing. Not quite sure if this is exactly correct in Arduino, but let's find out if it compiles correctly. It doesn't. And this is probably more appropriate. See, now it does. Although when looking at it, there's not much going on, so I'll have to check the if the circuit is working fine enough, and maybe fine tune. So let's see how we can do that. As we saw in the screencast, there's nothing happening. Well, the program has changed, but nothing happened with this LED. So when looking at this setup, oops, that is not the intention, neither it is, but the problem here is, let me do this carefully, that this pin is being moved upwards, so I have to adjust that. Let me put it down. I hope you can see that this pin is shifted upwards, and as a result it doesn't touch this switch. So I'll have to change this and put the same kind of thing around. On the other side. Now it won't be shifted up again. And I'll have to put everything back. That should work. And this should work. So let's find out once again if things work out or not. I hear some motor whining. There we go. Oops, I shouldn't touch the camera. Okay, let me, for security reasons, remove this camera, this motor. I know it works. I should shift this to tighten the chain. So let's go again and see what happens. That is the problem. And here I do have a little problem. That is not working smoothly at all. So let me stop this for a moment and have a little look at it. I may shift down this a little bit. See again. This works better. Does it touch the switch well enough? Yes, it does. Does it lighten up? One of the LEDs? I'm afraid it doesn't yet. But there's something else. It doesn't fully press the switch in, so I'll have to change that too. I have to push it down a little bit. Not too much. And let's see once again. Which is too much. No, just right. But nothing here on the LED side, so I may have to look into the coding again. So let's do that. The simplest way to check out if apart from working code the signals are okay is putting it in the serial monitor. So that is what I do right now. Apart from all these, let me comment this out because I'm not using the NTC anymore, and then I can actually see what it will do. And this is all right. Let me check the serial monitor, and it says 11, so I've made a programming mistake somewhere, unfortunately. And here I say this the pin 11 is 11, it's a constant, and that was not supposed to be, because then I think that I've made somehow a mistake here. Does digital in pin actually exist? Pin 11 will be 11. And is sensor value actually that value? And I think I should do it something like this with digital read. So I will put here sensor value digital is 0, read from switch. Then here sensor value digital is digital read, and then I think digital in pin 11. Then it prints the sensor value. So now it I should use this right here. see what this shows. Serial monitor. And there is one problem, because this value is going way faster than the sensor is being hit. So there's something wrong. I have to check the mechanism, because it is being pushed up by the switch, and this frequency of switching 1 to 0 is way too fast. So back to the drawing board, kind of. And using one of these clamps, I put it in here, then tighten up the axis, hoping that this will be enough to not get stuck. Let's see again. Yes, okay. I need to push it a little bit up. If possible. Also when it's not possible. Okay. How does it touch? This touches okay. The chain back on. And run again and see what happens, if anything. The motor is not in full contact. Now it is. And it's still on the run. And the thing is now way too shaky. Not quite sure why. And the other thing is that the input, as you saw on the serial monitor, is still way too fast, way too high frequency in changing. It should get one and a lot of zeros. So there is something not quite alright here. And course I'll have to find out. But another thing is that if you see here this LED, it's not burning at all, while the input I chose is correct. So I'm not quite sure how to do that or how to deal with that, but it's most certainly the code that is due. So let's get back. Another solution might be that I for now comment this out and that I use digital read. Oops. And that could be the whole point. So let's check this out. And this in pin is not declared in the scope. On 29. Did I forget? Yes, I did forget. Let's do this, digital read. Let's try again. Alright. And although the LED burns constantly now, let's find what the serial monitor says, which looks like slightly better. There are more zeros, if I'm not entirely mistaken. No, there are more ones. Here there's 2 zeros, but there are, yeah, here same, more ones, and that is simply impossible. Unless I've confused the readings, that one is actually 0. In theory that is possible. And let's see, a few zeros. But otherwise, yeah, here are a few zeros. But it is running way too slow for this frequency to be correct. So there still is something not quite right. The digital read, I think, is fine. But considering the rest and the constant burning of the LED, which I'll show you on cam, is not what I expect to happen. So yeah, let's get back to the camera. So with that code supposedly correctly set, you see in what frequency the pin touches the sensor, but you also see that this LED is burning constantly which should not be the case. If every touch is one upon which the LED should burn, it should be far longer off than on. The other way around, it should be on and just a little bit off, which isn't the case either. It's just burning constantly, and that is not entirely what I expect it to do. This is, and no matter how high I put the output voltage, the running speed of this motor doesn't change. It just runs. Well, not entirely, of course. But it comes quite close. So the question is, let's assume that this setup is correct. Well, this is anyway, because the motor is running. Which leaves the question, is this okay? And for that to happen, I may use the multimeter once again. So let's get that one out. Set it to, say, 3 volt. And let's see how we put the wires. That should not be too hard. There's a minus somewhere, and that minus is here, with the plus being of course here somewhere. So let's put it on and run it. Oops. Careful on the wires. And then let's measure something with the camera on the multimeter. And I'm not entirely sure how this will go. Be careful. And I don't measure anything, so there may be a circuit error with the switch. And that won't exactly be the first time, unfortunately. So I think that there is some error of thinking. Let me try to reconstruct, but that will be up for next time. For now, Thank you for watching. Unfortunately, this motor isn't working again, but this is a nice change in setup. And this LED doesn't work as expected anymore. With the if statement, the frequency of ones and zeros isn't showing up here at all. In the serial monitor it is way too fast, and here, well, this is just running. So up to next time. Thank you for watching, and to be continued.